Hey everybody, my name's Kevin,
Hi, my name is Glenn.
and we are here to show off our third build of our game E-. This is release 0.2.0, and I'm going to be the one playing the game here, and just like our other two devlogs, Glenn is going to kind of describe. We've made some pretty big changes this time around, so Glenn's going to talk while I play some more.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is 0.2.0, and it is the biggest update that we've done so far. Our previous version was 0.1.2, and yeah, we decided to jump it up to 0.2.0, and we felt like that was because there were significant changes that went into the game. So, the first couple versions, it was just like this prototype feel, and it was kind of just an endless game. There wasn't an end to it, and it wasn't designed to have an end, and it just kind of kept going. It was mostly just to show the mechanics and what the game would be like, but Kevin and I wanted to give it more structure, and we started trying to think of ideas of how to give it some finality. So that involved a lot of tweaking of the difficulty to have it be playable for like X number of minutes, and so we wanted to have it be like a 3 to 4 minute experience, and we tried to cater the difficulty around that. So what we have right here is a game that is actually beatable. There is like an end point to the game, and as you can see in the top left corner, there's this percentage bar now. In the original prototype, it was kind of just a timer there, like counting up from 0 seconds. It didn't count time. It just counted the level, and so it went from like level 1 to level 2 to level 3, and that was just literally based on time. After about 30 seconds, the level would increment, and then like the enemies would become faster, and the game would ramp up due to how far you've made it, like how many levels, and that was just based on time. We decided to change that up, and actually it's no longer based on time. It's actually based on how many photons reach the nucleus. So before, if a photon reached the nucleus, basically nothing happened. There wasn't any sort of significance there, but now we've actually made it a critical part of the game. So if a photon reaches the nucleus, then that increments the percentage in which you've that just determines how far you have gotten in your run of the game. Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Kevin? That was kind of your idea.
Yeah, we were just trying to kind of figure out exactly, again, like you said, we were just trying to kind of tweak the difficulty a little bit, and like you said, also trying to figure out like a way to have like not an end state per se, because I think we still want to maybe have it be more than this 3-minute experience overall, but like it was just something we were looking to, I don't know, like kind of, yeah, just hone the experience a little bit more, make it a little bit tighter, add in all these new enemies that obviously you can see here. I think in the last build we had 2 or 3 enemies. Does that sound right? Maybe even less, actually.
I think we had like 4 enemies, but in part of this build we actually added 2 more enemies, and both these enemies are shooting enemies. There's this one that's actually like rotating around the...
Yeah, just took a shot just now, yeah.
Yeah, and it actually shoots at you. So yeah, these 2 new enemies are shooting enemies. This one is kind of like this one that orbits the atom, and it kind of is just based off like an ellipse, or it's like an elliptical orbit. And then there's another one that it probably won't appear in this run because run like if the elliptical orbit enemy appears, then the other type of shooting enemy won't appear. And maybe we'll do another. I guess we're gonna do another.
No choice, yeah.
But yeah, the other type of shooting enemy is like these enemies that kind of like jump in from the corners, and that's based off like a Bezier curve. So yeah, it like kind of like curves in and then curves back off screen, and then it takes like a shot at you. Yeah, so those are 2 enemies that we introduced, and again, yeah, that's part of like the difficulty that we wanted to like focus on. Yeah, and a few other. Yeah, so I would say that the most significant change really is, photons reaching the nucleus determines how far you get in the game.
Yeah, and I guess I kind of forgot to mention that kind of like we wanted to just have that risk reward factor amplified even more so. Like, yeah, you gotta, you can go for the photons to recharge your ammo, but now you really have to make that decision between like, do I want to recharge my ammo or do I want to keep progressing in the level? Like, what do I need? And again, we're still trying to tweak the balance of all that, but as of right now, it's feeling pretty good, I think.
Yeah. So that's like the most significant change that isn't necessarily like visual, but yeah, as you can see, compared to the past 2 devlogs that we've done, visually things have changed. Right now we have 4 rings, basically 4 weapons for you. Before it was 5 weapons, and we thought that 4 was actually just a more concise, compact experience. Do you have any thoughts on that, Kevin?
I mean, now that we added 1 more weapon, there's kind of like a heat seeker missile, and the thing that we, by essentially we have 6 weapons total now, and by eliminating 1 of the, ducking it down from 5 to 4, we're able to shuffle up the weapons every time. So we automatically have the pea shooter spawn, which is just kind of like your basic pistol in the center ring, which I think we were also doing that on the outer ring every time before. So we switched that up as well, and then but every run again, like just like the enemies are kind of randomized to a small degree, the weapons that you're going to get are going to be randomized as well.
Yeah, it's all random. The order is random, with the exception of the pea shooter locked to the center. Before, in the first 2 versions that we had, the weapons were predetermined, and they were just the same every single run. So you could just keep the same strategy for every single time you play the game. But now, each run is going to be different because the weapon order is different, and also like the types of enemies are different. So, we have like several enemies at this point, and not all of them will appear per run. So yeah, every run feels different. In that last run, Kevin, made it to 95%, and there are runs that I've gotten 100% on like pretty easily. There are some that I've gotten 100% on where I was barely scraping by, and there's some that I like died within like a minute and a half. So
yeah, same here. I had like, I was texting you the other day like, oh, I had a no damage run, and then like shortly thereafter I died at 45%. So just totally, I really like how much it shifts, because like you said before, like in our previous builds, I was pretty much, even though I'm kind of doing it here still too, but I was pretty much able to just say, oh, I have the machine gun, I'm just going to use that the entire time, like never change my weapons. And because you're not collecting photons, or you weren't in the past, to progress, you could pretty much just, it didn't matter how long it took, and you're just trying to get as far as you could, so just keep collecting ammo and plowing ahead with that machine gun, and I wasn't really experimenting with the other weapons as much. But now the spread shot is actually probably my favorite, to the point where I actually think we might need to nerf this one a little bit. But yeah, I really like the dynamics. I like the new palette as well. I was talking to somebody on Twitter, actually, like talking about a different game, and we were like talking a little bit about how much we like that palette, and I was just like, man, I'm having such a hard time solidifying something for our palette here for the game that I'm working on. And he was like, oh man, I usually just start with some kind of oh, there we go, victory.
Nice.
And we got a new little victory song here too. But yeah, he just was like, I kind of use some kind of pre-made palettes at least as a starting point, and go from there. And you told me about that website coolers.co, and there's just like a ton of pre-made templates, and I just kind of went from there and tweaked a bunch of different, found some stuff that was complementary, and just messed around with it a little bit. But yeah, it's really nice to have like a starting point of something that you already like, as opposed to just picking colors out of the dark.
Yeah, but yeah, in my opinion, I think these colors look great. It's a really fun experience, and yeah, it has like a void sort of aesthetic, which I really like. And then that pretty much covers a lot of the changes that we did. It took us a while to really come up with like what we wanted to put in this release that felt satisfying, because we were playing around with a lot of different ideas, and we had like a lot of different like ideas for difficulty, but nothing really felt right for a while. And in that time, like, it was a little frustrating, and like it felt like there wasn't really much progress that I was making from a programming perspective, just because like I would make progress on some things, and then like it would be halted because we would have to have conversations about like multiple aspects of the decisions that we were making. So in that time when I felt like I was getting stuck, I kind of was working on like juicing the game a little bit, adding some tactility to it. So yeah, I just wanted to add feel. So like when the electron shoots, like it kind of pulsates a little bit, so it kind of has like this recoil sort of effect.
Yeah, especially with the machine gun here, you can see it the most. You can see it just kind of bouncing in and out as I hold it down.
Yeah. And so that, it's just like those little subtle things that hopefully like enhance the player's experience. I hope maybe some people won't notice it, maybe some people will, and maybe it is the idea that they don't notice it that is what we want to achieve. So, something really subtle, but yet it ends up being really effective. And then we also just I also just added a bunch of like particle effects for when photons reach the nucleus. There's like a little splash. So yeah, it's just like minor things here and there, like while we were still thinking about some bigger ideas for the update, like when those felt slow and it felt like we weren't making progress, I was able to, kind of do some like minor milestones with with adding feel to the game. So that's another part of this update that I'm pretty proud of.
I love it, man. It makes a huge difference to me. Like all the just everything just feels so satisfying, as like the way the enemies kind of disappear and fizzle out. I really like all of the new animations. But you can see here, I'm just getting destroyed on this run. I'm only at 56%, and barely got further than that.
This might be a good place to stop anyway. I feel like that pretty much covers everything that we added to this new version of E-.
Yeah, I would say that pretty much covers it for sure. But thanks for watching, and thanks for tuning in. And again, you can check out this prototype on our itch page, and otherwise we'll keep updating it and keep you posted.
Thank you.